Hey, this is Elijah with the Oxygen team, and in this video, I'm going to show you what's new in Oxygen 3.0. 3.0 is a huge update that introduces three incredible new features, the first of which is full WooCommerce integration. This means that you can now use our over 20 WooCommerce elements to design and lay out your WooCommerce store directly inside of Oxygen. Next is our Gutenberg integration. The Gutenberg integration allows you to design Gutenberg blocks inside of Oxygen and then use them directly in the Gutenberg editor. But not only use them, you can also edit their content in Gutenberg. So with this integration, Gutenberg essentially becomes Oxygen's client mode because while you can edit the content, you cannot make fundamental layout, structural, or design changes. And finally, we have our repeater element. The repeater element is a visual loop builder that allows you to drag and drop elements inside of Oxygen to build post loops from custom post types, posts, pages, or even advanced custom fields repeaters. So first, let's take a look at the WooCommerce integration. As you can see here, we have a WooCommerce store. This is being displayed in Oxygen using a main template with an inner content element. And it looks fine, but it could look a lot better. The cart page, we've got a checkout page. It's all there and it's functional, but we want to completely control the design of all of these elements and pages. So to show you how to do that, we are going to jump into the back end and go to Oxygen, Templates, and then we're going to jump into our archive template that is used for rendering the shop. Now once we're in here, we're going to go to Manage, Settings, Global Styles, and there's a new WooCommerce section where we can control the general look and feel of all of our WooCommerce elements. This is a great tool to get a nice uniform look really quickly among your WooCommerce elements. So I'm going to go in here and just adjust a couple of colors. We're going to go pink on this primary CTA, maybe purple on this one, and we'll just keep going down the line and adjusting all of these colors, and you'll start to see the changes take place there in the preview. And again, these are global colors, so if we wanted to adjust them, we could adjust them in one place and they would change everywhere we've used them. And it's important to note we haven't even used any of the new WooCommerce elements yet. This is just styling the default WooCommerce elements that are output when you install WooCommerce and use inner content templates. So we'll jump into some of that deeper customization, but I wanted to show you really quickly how fast and easy it is to get a nice look to WooCommerce using our new WooCommerce global styles, which of course go hand in hand with all of the WooCommerce elements included in our integration. So take a look at that. And then let's jump back over to global styles and we'll go through one more section, which will be notifications. And we'll just adjust a couple of these. So we're going to go pink for that one, purple for that one. And then for the last one, we're going to do a slightly different shade. So we'll start with purple and then just adjust the hue a little bit to get something a little more pink or red. Great. Now let's go up and save and let's take a look on the front end at what this looks like now that we have applied some global styles. And as you can see, it looks 100 times better. And the global styles apply across all of the WooCommerce pages, as you can see here. Even our My Account page has those global styles, even though it's really kind of basic because we haven't dressed it up yet. So we're going to jump back to the back end in Oxygen on our shop archive, and we're actually going to take a look at the WooCommerce elements now. Since this is an archive, we're going to work with the WooCommerce products list element. But we have over 20 elements for displaying different pages and content from WooCommerce. Now let's insert the products list and let's get rid of the inner content element. And now we're using the products list element. On the left hand side, you can see all of the different options sections for the products list element. And we're going to take a look at the query real quick, which is really similar to the Easy Posts query settings, but it has a lot of WooCommerce specific options. We're going to keep it default. Let's go back to settings And let's jump to layout. We can adjust the columns here. We can go to 3. We can take it to 4. We can go to 5. And we can change the alignment of the price and title. Now let's take a look at another setting here. How about the heading options? We can change the font family of the heading, just like we can any other text element in Oxygen. We can change the font size, which I'm going to set to 0 to hide the heading. Let's look at results count. Again, similar text element controls. We can change font family. We can change font size. We can adjust the color, font weight, all of those typography settings that you're familiar with in Oxygen. Let's jump over and look at something different here. We have the sales badge, which we actually need to make match our color theme. So we'll set it to pink. And there are several other settings for the sales badge. In fact, pretty much every settings section that you see here on the sidebar has many options to allow you to customize. So we're going to save, and I think we're going to jump over to a different WooCommerce page at this point to show you some other WooCommerce elements and customizations. So let's go to Pages, and let's go ahead and customize the My Account page. Let's jump into the back end and hit Edit with Oxygen. All right, now that we're in here, you can see we don't have any elements on this page yet, but we're going to go ahead and replace the inner content area with a WooCommerce My Account element. So let's jump down and find that right there. And as you can see, it already looks a ton better than the default, but we'll go in and make some adjustments to this. So let's add a box shadow, do a dark gray with 0 horizontal offset, 0 vertical offset, 25 pixels of shadow blur, and -10 of spread. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add some padding to this. We'll do 25 pixels all around. And then we're going to jump down and adjust the border radius. And we'll go ahead and set 4 pixels. It'll give it a nice soft corner. Let's go back and look at the menu options. We can change the position of the My Account menu, left or right. We can change the width to pretty much anything we want. We can step it up and make it really wide, or we can just go back to the default, which looked fine. So let's go over here and save this. And now let's jump back over to the front end and take a look at what we've done. So let's go to My Account, and then let's look at our product archive over here under Shop. And there we go. Everything looks pretty good with our global styles. Here is a single product, and we haven't actually applied any WooCommerce elements to this. We're just using the default WooCommerce layout, but let's go ahead and change that. So let's edit the product template, and we're going to go to Edit with Oxygen. Now that we're in here, we're going to go to Add and WooCommerce and insert a product builder. The product builder is pretty much a wrapper for all of the single product elements. They should all live inside of a product builder. So let's go in and let's set up our layout or structure of our product. For this, I'm going to add columns. We're going to do a 2-column layout. We'll do 50-50. And on the left-hand column, let's go in and let's add a product title and a product price. And next, let's go in and drop in a product description. Then let's go in and add a product cart button. Perfect. So we've got that all set up. Let's make a few adjustments. Let's adjust typography. Let's change the line height to 1.2. And let's change the color to purple. And then let's change the typography settings on the price as well. Let's just adjust the color a little bit to kind of a gray color. And then let's adjust the spacing below the title. And then let's adjust the spacing below the price, just to let everything breathe a little bit. And finally, let's go down and add some space below the description to give that cart button some room. Now, for the right-hand side, we're going to display the product images. So click Add, go to WooCommerce, and look for the product images element. Fantastic. So we've got an image add to cart button, title, and price. Those are the basics. Let's go over to this left-hand column and just center everything vertically. And then we're going to select the product builder element, and we're going to add a product tabs element below our columns. So click add, and we'll go down to product tabs. Now this is a tabbed element that displays reviews and description and details. Let's make some adjustments. Let's add 25 pixels of padding on all sides for the content area. And then let's jump over to the tab settings, and let's change the text color to white. And then let's go down and change the tab background color to our global purple. Now let's go change the active tab color. So we'll jump over to active tab, change the text color to black, and then we'll change the background color to white so that we can see which tab is currently active. Perfect. So we've customized that. We have a completely custom product layout at this point. So let's jump over to the front end and take a look at what this looks like. So we've designed this once in a product template, and it looks great. If we go over to the shop, we're seeing our custom products list, and any product we click is going to use our single product template that we've designed. And as you can see, it dynamically pulls all of the pertinent information about the product in. So that's how easy it is to set up a custom WooCommerce site completely designed and styled with Oxygen using Oxygen 3.0 and the new WooCommerce integration. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Gutenberg integration. So let's jump over to the dashboard, and we're going to go to Pages, and we're going to add a new page called Gutenberg. So let's type in the title there, and let's publish the page. And then we'll go in and edit with Oxygen. Once we're in Oxygen, we're going to go ahead and use some elements from the design library. So go to Add, and then down to Library, Design Sets, and we're going to use Hosting for this example. So we're going to go to Sections and Elements, and let's add a call to action. Let's add a couple more things here. So let's go back to the design library and add a content section. How about this features block? That looks good. And let's do one more. Let's add another content section. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to style this up just a little bit to make sure everything looks uniform. So we're going to go to Manage, Settings, Global Styles, Colors, Global Colors, and we're going to grab that pink color that we used. We're going to move it over to the Hosting global color set. We're also going to move the purple over. This will change everything in all of these elements that was green or dark blue to purple or pink. Perfect. So that already looks more like it belongs on the site. So once that's done, we're going to adjust our section, and we're actually going to go ahead and just remove the gradient completely. So let's X those out, and then we're going to go with a white background for this section. So let's go to Advanced Background, and let's clear that global pink that we had set up. So next, let's go over and adjust our text colors. We'll go purple on both of these, and then the sign up button. We're going to adjust the hover styles a little bit. So let's make it go to maybe a white background color when you hover over it. Okay, perfect. So now let's scroll down and look. Yep, everything looks like it belongs. Now the first way we're going to look at adding a Gutenberg block is via the structure pane within the Oxygen builder. So if you have a section you'd like to use as a block, you just go to Structure, find your section, click the hamburger menu, and then click Copy to Block. Add a name for the block, and then click OK. And that goes ahead and puts that block into the new block library. So let's go back to admin, and we'll look at what it's like to use one of those. So we're going to go to Oxygen, block library, and there's the block we just created. You can also click Add New and add your own blocks directly from here. Blocks are a lot like reusable parts in that each one should be its own self-contained section. They're blocks, so you want to use many of them to build your page or post. So from here, you can edit a block just like you would a post or page in Oxygen, and the changes you make to these blocks, design-wise, will be reflected anywhere they've been used in Gutenberg, but the content changes will not override the content changes that have been made inside Gutenberg. So from here, let's jump back over to our Gutenberg page, and let's actually use this block. So let's click the page. And then once we're in here, to add a block that you've created in Oxygen, you just go up, click the plus button in Gutenberg, and find the Oxygen blocks category, and click it. There you have it. That's the block we just created from a section on our page. And if you need to edit it, you just highlight the text and change it. You can type whatever you want here, and it will reflect on the front end. Let's go ahead and change this 30-day money-back guarantee to a 60-day money-back guarantee. And then let's change sign up to say learn more. There you go. We've just edited an Oxygen-designed block right inside of Gutenberg. Now let's approach this a little differently. Let's say you've designed this page and you don't want to use just one section. You want to use the entire page. Just check make this full page editable in Gutenberg and click the update button. And when the page refreshes, you will see your entire Oxygen design in Gutenberg, which again can be edited very easily. So let's change this title again. Are we prepared to go? And again, a 60-day money-back guarantee, which we offer here at Oxygen. And then let's change sign up to learn more. And then let's go down and change the rest of these elements. Why not change customers to clients? All right, so now I'm going to go through real quickly and just change a few of these other text elements. As you can see, it's very, very easy to edit content in Oxygen's Gutenberg blocks. So this makes a perfect client mode because you never need to give them access to Oxygen in order for your clients to edit the content. So let's go down, and to change a picture, we just click on it and go to Media Library, and let's select one of our WooCommerce images. Perfect. So that looks pretty good. Now there are some properties that need to be adjusted in the Gutenberg sidebar over here on the right hand side. For instance, the background image for sections can be changed here. And you'll know which section the background image field belongs to because it outlines the associated section in blue. And if you click it, it animates really quickly. So any of these sidebar fields that are tethered to an element on screen will indicate in that manner. So we're going to change the URL of the button to point at a different page on our site, like one of these products. And then let's take a look at the icons. We can also change those here in the sidebar. So we can choose from either linear icons or font awesome icons, just like you can in the Oxygen builder. So let's change this one as well. We'll throw a cog on that one. And then let's change our little sun icon to a different sun icon. And then let's go to our calendar icon. And how about we choose something like this? I believe that's a martini glass. Perfect. So that looks pretty good. And now what we need to do is take a look on the front end. And here we'll see our Oxygen designed page, which we've inserted into the Gutenberg editor and then edited the content on, is displayed perfectly with all of our changes. So Oxygen plus Gutenberg makes an incredible client mode in Oxygen 3.0. Finally, we're going to take a look at the repeater element, which is a visual loop builder for Oxygen. So let's go into the dashboard, and we're going to jump over to a post I've already set up. This is a top 4 list post, and we have used an advanced custom fields repeater field to list the top 4 hotels. As you can see here, we've got the entry number, entry image, entry name, price, a description, and then a URL. So normally displaying repeater data like this in Oxygen has involved some custom code. Now with the repeater element, we can display this in the blog post template without having to touch a single line of PHP or CSS. So the first thing we need to do is add the blog title. So since this is a template, we're going to use dynamic data to do this. So let's double click this heading element, go to insert data, and choose post title and insert that. Now let's add the actual post content. This is the written content in Gutenberg. So insert data and content. Now we need to insert a repeater element, which is found under add helpers and under the dynamic section. So insert a repeater. And by default, the repeater is going to query whatever the default query of the page or post we're on is, which in this case is just the post we're on. We don't want that, so we're going to eventually choose the ACF repeater. But first, let's look at the custom. This is very familiar if you have used easy posts before. So a custom query is fully possible to query whatever kind of post type you'd like. For this, we are going to use the ACF repeater option, which is a checkbox below the WP query buttons. So then we check that box and select which ACF repeater we want to call up. Perfect. So let's apply that, and you'll see the repeater element has duplicated itself. It's created an instance of the repeater div for each item returned by the query. So in this case, we have 4 hotels listed. So we're going to add a columns element to this repeater, and we're going to set it up to be a 3-column layout. And in this left column, we're going to adjust the size to about 20%. And then we're going to go up and we're going to add a heading. And let's double click that. And we're going to use insert data at the top bar and do repeater field, which shows up as a dynamic data source. And choose the field from the drop down. And this should list all the fields available in the repeater. For this, we're going to use entry number. So let's click away from that, and you'll see it quickly update for all of the posts returned by the repeater. So let's double click this, and let's add a pound symbol before that, because this is going to be our number label for this top list. Let's make it way bigger. Perfect. So now we're on to the middle column. For this one, we're going to go to advanced, background, and we're actually going to set the background image to a dynamic data source, and we're going to choose a repeater field, and we'll choose the entry image field, which we've set up in our repeater. And as you can see, it pulls the image for each of the posts. Let's center the background image really quickly by setting it to left and top 50%. And then let's change the background size to cover. Perfect. Now let's move on to the right column where more of our content will be. So we're going to add a heading. And then we're going to adjust the H tag here to make it a little bit smaller. Let's double click it, insert data, and choose a repeater field, drop that down, and choose entry name. Perfect. Now let's add a text element. So let's jump up and search for text and insert that. We're going to double click it, and we're going to go to insert data, repeater field, and choose entry description and insert. All right, that's looking good. And as you can see, every dynamic data item we add populates with the dynamic data from each post in the repeater. So now we're dropping in a heading, and we're going to adjust it to be kind of small. And let's double click it. Let's insert some more dynamic data. Choose a repeater field. From the drop down, we're going to choose entry price. Perfect. Now we need one more thing, and that's going to be a button. And this is going to be a Book Now button that pulls the URL from the repeater. So let's look at this button. Let's double click it and change it to Book Now. And then we're going to change the button color to match the design that we've set up. We're going to adjust the button hover color to purple, and let's change the text color to white. Perfect. Now let's just adjust the spacing a little bit on this layout. So let's add some spacing below the price, and then let's take a look at the description. I think that's probably okay, and I think there's enough space below the heading too. So let's select the div itself and do some styling. So let's go to structure and make sure we have the repeater div selected, not the columns element. which we do. The div is where everything needs to live inside the repeater. So we go to Advanced and Borders, and let's add a border radius to this. Something like 4 pixels usually looks good. Then we'll go to Advanced Background and change the background color to white. And then we're going to go to Effects, and we're going to add some box shadow. So let's make that a transparent dark gray. Drag the transparency down there. And then let's change the offset to 0.2 and shadow blur to 20. And finally, the spread will be about -5 or so. That should look pretty good. So let's go to size and spacing and add some bottom margin as well. Let's try 50 pixels to give those things some room to breathe. Let's save this. That looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and let's jump in to the front end to take a look at this. And again, this is in a blog post template. So any of these top list posts that have the repeater would be displayed using this template with all the repeater data in all of its glory. So that's the repeater element in Oxygen 3.0. Now, besides these features, we've of course continued to polish the existing features in Oxygen as well as squash some major bugs. So we're super excited to see how our users put these new features to work. For a complete changelog of the changes between Oxygen 2.4.1 and Oxygen 3.0, check out our blog. Again, this is Elijah with the Oxygen team. That's what's new in Oxygen 3.0, and thank you very much for watching.